Chapter 212 to 213. Ao marveled at the stand set up by the Biri Company. The fight between Ringo Amayuri and the fourth Mizukage became a very anticipated event, if only due to the tension between nations it would solve. The Biri Company went all out in preparation and made it into some kind of show not unlike the Chunin exams, except the arena was the entire region of Kuronami Plains on the eastern side of the Land of Water. It was a very big, empty, inhospitable area with numerous water surfaces, many boulders, and trees strewn all over it. The entire plains were massive, and it only hammered down the fact that the Biri Company prepared well for a fight where one participant is a Jinchuriki. The entire observatory system was made by seals. That much Ao noticed. He, however, couldn't recognize even one seal, and that was a blow to his pride, since he was quite proficient in the sealing arts, something the eye patch covering his Byakugan eye was proof of. The main stands were in the capital of the Land of Water, and many important people gathered to witness this battle, buying overpriced tickets for spots or VIP rooms left and right. Honestly, Ao was getting increasingly tired of getting to know how much was the Biri Company milking the situation for all the profits it was worth. The stands in the Land of Water were not the sole place for viewing the event either. Every capital city had something similar with seals that could transfer the image in an imitation of cinema. This was the first time a fight would be viewed by every country. The provider of the best seals worldwide, huh? Ao idly mused about the Biri Company's previous boasting. Clearly they could back it up if they were capable of making an international broadcast of the fight. Excuse me. Are you Ao from Resistance? A voice suddenly snapped Ao from his thoughts, causing him to tense slightly. Only when he noticed it was one of the Biri employees did Ao partially relax his body and nodded in agreement while still not letting go of the kunai stashed in his sleeve. Please follow me. Rei-sama is waiting for you, the attendant said, and turned around. Ao had only a brief moment to reboot his brain before he numbly followed the man. Ao entered a large, luxurious VIP room with a comfortable-looking sofa on one side, facing a wall where the plains where the battle was about to start was shown. Ah, hello, Ao. Rei's voice interrupted Ao's observation of the room, causing him to switch his sight on the people inside the room. Noticing the shift in Ao's interest, Rei smiled and started the introduction. This is Ao, the supposed leader of the resistance, he said in a slightly mocking tone that made Ao frown, before gesturing to the woman sitting to his right. This lovely lady is Nakona, the previous director of the Biri Company. To her left is Nadetsu Jusen, the current director of the company. Rei smiled at a slightly dark-skinned woman who gave Ao such a piercing look, it made him momentarily freeze. Seeing their brief interaction, Rei quickly motioned towards the fidgeting elderly man, trying to make himself invisible. This is, as you already know, the Water Country Daimyo. Ao gave a respectful bow to the man, despite hiding a small frown. First, he dares to threaten a daimyo in his own castle, and then he invites him to the battle that would decide the future of his own country. And on top of that, he put him in a room with people who are so influential they could decide the fate of the Land of Water with a few signatures. No wonder the daimyo is so jittery, Ao bitterly thought. Thinking about Rei and his actions, Ao quickly understood that most of it was a veiled but blatant show of power. From persuading the daimyo to take a vacation to setting up the battle in some weird Chunin exam-like fashion. With each action, it will be harder and harder to stand against Ringo once she gets the position of the Mizukage. Rei was simply showing off Ringo's backing to an extent that would make her frightening. All he has to do now is show that her own power is even more frightening, and the clan heads will be as meek as lambs. Ao held back a grimace, knowing there was nothing he could do about Kirigakure getting into Ringo's hands anymore. Rei was observing Ao's reactions to the presence of the water daimyo, noting that Ao guessed what was going on in the room. Unfortunately, Mei stayed with Pakura, Maki, Yuriko, and Yugito in the mansion in their hidden village and will be watching the battle from there. It would be so much fun seeing the water daimyo fearfully squirm in Mei's presence. Rei sadly sighed. Knowing the sort of person the water daimyo was, it would be poetic justice. Alas, the girl just had to go and invent another world-ending jutsu and be grounded by Conan. Anyway, Ao, come and sit. It's actually Kona who wanted you here. She is awfully interested in your future spot as Ringo's confidant. Secretary, Ray mentally added with a snort. The brunette gently smiled at Ao, causing his instinct to start screaming at him he is in danger. Yes, I simply wanted you to sit with us when Ringo decimates your current Mizukage. Ao, however, could read between the lines very well. I see. I guess this is what I asked for. He glanced at Ray, who raised an eyebrow at him. Sighing, Ao nodded. I understand. Thank you. And sat down in his designated place next to Ray. Damn me and my mouth. I just had to say I wouldn't mind doing anything to better Kirigakure. His mood somehow sunk. And now I am here with people who will get the village in their grasp. I can't even complain since I am sure they will improve the village as I wished. Shaking his head, Ao despondently watched the wall in front of him where the image of Ringo approaching Yagura in order to exchange some pre-battle niceties was located. He didn't even notice when Ray implanted a seal that would prevent him from revealing his relationship with either Conan or Tsunade, who were in disguise. After all, it wouldn't be nice if the connection between Yozora and the Biribiri company was known. Only then did his hands find their way around Conan's waist and pull her onto his lap before starting to kiss his way up her neck while she made herself comfortable and leaned her back onto his chest. I wonder how long it will take Ringo to finish. Conan started in a purring voice, causing Ray to momentarily stop kissing her neck. It's a show first and foremost. She will probably take her time. Plus, it's the first time she can test her creations against something as sturdy as Sanbi Jinchuriki. Tsunade snorted. Right. She was oddly excited about the fight. I guess you made sure she looked at the situation from the correct angle, Ray. I sure did, Ray cheekily answered, before returning his attention to Conan. To say Ao was bewildered would be an understatement. So they are not just business partners. Shit, what did I get myself into? Sadly for him, Ray wanted to make sure the man who will run Kirigakure in Ringo's stead is trustworthy, so his discomfort went ignored. The man didn't even realize he was being watched and judged. On the screen, Ringo finally reached Yagura and the people in the room quieted down, all thinking the same. And so it's starting. Ringo slowly approached Yagura, who was already waiting in the center of the Kuronami plains. As she looked around, she noted that it was really a bleak area with nothing extraordinary in it. Nothing anybody would mind losing, no matter how much they wreck the place. Ringo's lips briefly twitched upward at that thought. You are taking your damn time, traitor, Yagura sneered, only to receive a deadpan look from Ringo. Ringo, on the other hand, was inwardly amused and simply kept her pointed gaze on the fourth Mizukage chibi in front of her, while raising her eyebrow as if he was a misbehaving child. It took a few moments, but Yagura eventually noticed and flushed red from anger. Before he could say anything, however, Ringo started talking. You really are quite bad at taunting people, aren't you, boy? Her even voice spread through the plains in a dismissive manner that told exactly what she thought about Yagura. Traitor? Really? Is that supposed to make me angry or something? Ringo mused. For your information, child, I had a good reason to go rogue and I accepted the potential repercussions of it even before you even started attending academy. Not that it matters. In this world, only power matters. Yagura's sneer increased the more Ringo talked. She not only tried to rationalize her turning traitor, but she also had a complete disregard for him. He was a keg, damn it. Fine then. If it's a power you respect, I shall show you exactly that. Let's begin, Yagura coldly whispered. Hearing him, Ringo gave him a patronizing smirk. Stupid boy. The battle started the second we entered the play. She cut herself off mid-speech and performed the most casual step backward in the history of ninjas, with a bored expression just as 3 sharp tendrils of water shot upwards, impaling the place where she was standing not a second ago. I am quite aware, Yagura smirked at Ringo, who still looked at him impassively. What he didn't notice, however, was that her right hand was currently pointing downwards slightly in front of her. Lightning suddenly appeared on her outstretched pointing finger, and crackled blue before a small beam zigzagged forward, impacting the puddle from where the tendrils came from. As the lightning jutsu met the water jutsu, something never before seen happened that had the spectators knowledgeable in the water and lighting chakra natures all over the continent gaping silly. Yagura's water chakra in the puddle and the water tendrils completely destabilized when it came in contact with Ringo's lightning jutsu, causing them to fall apart back into the puddle. Yagura's smirk fell as he stared in muted disbelief at what just happened. It was a known fact that lightning counters water, but that didn't mean water was powerless against lightning. It just meant it would take either more water or more water chakra to overpower lightning-based techniques. Considering they were currently in the water country, surrounded by many water sources that could power up his jutsu and significantly cut their chakra cost, Yagura wasn't very worried about Ringo and the meager amount of lightning she would be able to call forth by utilizing only her chakra reserves. The sight of a small, powerless bolt of lightning completely disrupting his water jutsu made him rethink his previous assumptions, however. Especially since no matter how he tried, he couldn't take control of the water in the puddle near Ringo again. "I know." Ringo's voice snapped Yagura out of his reverie, but it was far too late as the pointing finger on her right hand was already firmly aiming at his forehead. Chidori Nagashi. The whole elemental nations, and especially one masked, white-haired, always depressed young man, watched in bewilderment as the current of lightning tore its way through Yagura's head near instantaneously, while the man's face was set in disbelieving expression. For a moment, the world grew quiet as Yagura just stood rooted in his spot, before his tensed body finally slacked towards the ground as his eyes rolled back. "Oh well, I told you I knew," Ringo offhandedly noted, as her eyes flickered to the left while her left gloved hand balled in a fist jumped up, blocking the tip of Yagura's staff with her knuckles, causing her to be sent sliding on the ground for 5 meters. Ringo furrowed her brows as she looked at her right hand, shaking it slowly. "Damn, that slightly stung." She hummed in a content manner while inwardly pondering one of her inventions, the force redirection gloves she was currently wearing. Yagura watched unnerved, not expecting to be able to send her back only for 5 meters. Not when he put so much chakra into enhancing that one blow in that ambush. "What the heck is she made of?" Yagura inwardly screamed as his hands and staff couldn't stop shaking. More importantly, what the heck was that lightning jutsu? It was damn near instant. My water clone had no chance to even notice it before he was destroyed. He shivered in a determination to not be hit by it. It was then Yagura noticed how impassive Ringo looked. She didn't even draw the blades on her waist, nor did she take a proper stance. She just stood in her spot, slightly slouched as if it was a bother to even be there, as she inspected her gloved left hand with a look of brief annoyance, completely ignoring him. Anger suddenly sprang up in Yagura. This was not some private duel. This was as much a battle as it was a show to the whole elemental nations. He couldn't be seen as weak. Despite that, his opponent didn't even look as if she was even properly paying attention to him. Yagura knew that Ringo had her senses on him non-stop. He knew she was watching him like a hawk. Any high-ranking ninja knew that. But the wealthy civilians, Chunin and Jainin-ranked ninjas, the woman was making him look weak. Yagura sprang forward straight at Ringo, whose lips set in a small smile. He brandished his staff at Ringo, his eyes flickering around, trying to find where she will dodge or if she will block. What counter will she use? And suddenly the staff landed on Ringo's body as she just indifferently stood in her place with an amused expression, causing Yagura to stop in his tracks for a second. Yagura stared at Ringo in disbelief. Ringo stared at Yagura in mirth. "Is that all?" she suddenly asked, snapping Yagura out of yet another brain freeze as he took a half-step back, mostly on instinct, and started raining blow after blow on Ringo's body. Many spectators winced as they watched the brutal beatdown Yagura was currently administering to the crimson-haired beauty. Shoulder, stomach, collarbone, ribs, thigh, knee, back to stomach. And so it went as the tip of Yagura's staff violently danced all over Ringo's unmoving body until Yagura suddenly tried to hit Ringo's head, only for her to lean it to the left, evading the blow. He tried again, but the result was the same, and so in a fluid motion his staff once again found purchase on Ringo's shoulder. The more blows Yagura landed, the more frustrated he was becoming. The spectators couldn't see it, but the madwoman was grinning at him. There was not even a speck of pain in her expression. She was still looking at him in that patronizing way, as if he was a small kid throwing a tantrum. He was moving at above Jonin's speed and hitting her with strength that would flatten average Jonin's for fuck's sake, and she was acting as if she didn't even feel it. Suddenly, Yagura's eyes wandered to Ringo's foot and shone with hope. He quickly redirected his staff mid-swing and stomped with its tip onto the center of said foot. The ground beneath Ringo's foot slightly caved in as cracks appeared around him, causing Yagura to smirk in content. That slight lapse in guard cost him dearly. He was too close to her and stopped his mad onslaught of blows. In one move, Ringo put her hand on the handle of her sword, and in one fluid move she partly unsheathed it while putting a lot of chakra to enhance her blow before driving its pommel into Yagura's stomach, raising his feet from the ground as his body bent in the waist and was sent flying backward for a bit. Huffing, Ringo rolled her shoulders as she watched the fourth Mizukage land on his feet, swaying from the blow she just gave him. Her body felt fine. A bit sore, but fine. I guess the force redirecting full-body suit is a smashing success. A sweet smile bloomed on her face. Seeing such a satisfied and carefree smile on his opponent's face, Yagura's mind rapidly pushed any discomfort and pain from the previous blow away as he snarled, his eyes still looking at Ringo's foot. "Why isn't it broken? With the strength I put into that blow, at least some of the small bones in her foot should have snapped." Noticing his look, Ringo's smile widened. "I am currently testing a suit that can redirect force through its surface, meaning no matter how hard your hit is, I will barely feel a small percentage of its power." Ringo uncaringly shrugged, before a sudden thoughtful frown appeared on her face before she added, "Naturally, it requires a special way of molding a lightning chakra, so only I can use it." She lied through her teeth to the entire elemental nations, so nobody would pester her in order to sell it. In one particular room in the capital city of the Land of Water, Conan alongside Tsunade snorted, and Ao groaned at the obvious lie, while Rei only thanked God that the lie would be obvious only for those who knew Ringo. Catching his breath, Yagura straightened up again. "I am done playing with you," he said through his gritted teeth, but Ringo only looked at him curiously, which drove him even more sparse. Out of nowhere, his body was coated in a dark orange shroud of chakra, and Ringo's smile dropped, her face for the first time donning a dead serious expression. "Damn. I wanted to leisurely test more of my inventions." "Give me a break, kid," Yagura snarled.